What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Going to do a quick one for you guys tonight. I am about a year late to the party on the Gen 4 versus Gen 5 comparison. So I'm going to come at it from a different angle and talk to you about why you should be buying the Gen 5 Glock instead of the 4s or the 3s. But first, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. As we all know, YouTube likes to use algorithms to suppress firearms related content, but the algorithms reward thumbs up buttons and comments. So please hit the thumbs up and comment, and do that for not just this video, but all firearms related videos to keep them relevant and bubbling up through the algorithm. I'm going to dive in and talk about what kind of the differences are and what is important for the competition shooter or somebody who's actually going to use this in a situation where you would really reap the benefits of what the Gen 5 is. So it's really going to be more towards the shooting gamer side of the house, but all of these will translate over into the tactical arena as well. So the first two things I want to talk to you about are the ergonomics. So it is no secret that the Gen 5 pistols have lost their finger grooves. That is pretty obvious, and it does make a more comfortable grip when you get on the pistol, but it's not just for the no finger grooves thing. It is also because they reshaped the grip tang. So if both these guns are safety checked and clear. So you can kind of tell that there is a more pronounced swoop up at the corners of the grip tang on the Gen 5 pistol versus the Gen 4, and you can feel it when you put your hand on it. But more importantly, if I actually grip the pistols, and you can see, that's roughly how I hold the pistol, you can see how high up I'm getting at the corners, how much my hand is folding over the grip tang versus on the Gen 4, where it doesn't get quite as high. So that is probably the biggest benefit in my mind. The grip tang is really the best thing, finger grooves being second, and the third thing is the early Gen 5s have this stupid cutout here. On the full gripped Gen 5 pistols, this isn't that big of a deal. You're aware of it when you're gripping the pistol, but it's not a problem. On the Gen 5 19, I would completely take a pass if it has that cutout. You need to get one of the new ones, because you will pinch the snot out of your finger trying to seat magazines with that thing there, and just in recoil you'll be painfully aware that that cutout was there. I don't know what they were thinking, but they came correct in the later generation ones, and that's not a problem anymore. The grip texture is similar on the Gen 4 and the Gen 5. It's pretty grippy. It does a pretty good job. People who like stipple grips will still probably want to get it stippled, but it's not bad. It's pretty decent all the way around. That is the ergos of the pistol. The triggers are a little bit better on the Gen 5s than the Gen 4s. I don't think this is an exploitable advantage, so I'm not going to talk about it for very long, but the trigger is a little bit cleaner with a little less creep at the break on the Gen 5s than the Gen 4s. So that is a good thing. The next thing to talk about would be the slide finish. You've probably noticed this lovely shade of black that the slide is. This, I don't even remember the name of the coating. I think it's DLC coating. It has great lubricity. It's supposed to work better without lubrication. It's true, it holds up much better. My Gen 4, and I can never really photograph this, but this is only a 6-month-old pistol or so, and the muzzle wear is already starting to come through on the Gen 4 finish. I've had several Gen 4s and they've all worn out at the muzzle fairly badly. The Gen 5 doesn't appear to have any of those issues. All of the Gen 5s will have the rounded nose of the 34 to help prevent some of that muzzle wear as well. So that is a good thing as well. One of the downsides to the Gen 5s, especially the early ones, is this is a very slick finish. There are no forward serrations on this slide, so if you manipulate your slide in front of the projection fork, which is the proper way to do it if you're trying to be fast, you can miss your grip. I've done it in practice. I've missed my grip on that, and it is a thing. The new ones have forward serration, so get one of the forward serration models and you're going to be good to go. So one of my favorite things to talk about, especially for competition shooter guys, is the mag wells. They redid the mag wells on the Gen 5 pistols, and they are significantly bigger. This thing absolutely swallows magazines, and it is glorious. I don't know if I've ever felt a striker pistol that is as easy to reload as the Gen 5 Glocks. This thing is just top shelf, second to none. the flared magwell is a really great advantage if you're going to be reloading on the clock. I can't say it highly enough. If you just get one of the little grip plugs right there, it's like you almost have a magwell on the pistol. It's fantastic. The later ones that have the cutout filled in are even better. So the new Gen 5s that have the cutouts in place are the bee's knees. And that one difference that's worth noting, you really need to be aware of this, because during the MHS trial, Glock started using a proper 1913 rail on their pistols. You probably can't tell just by putting them side by side, but you can tell if you put a caliper on it. The rail section is taller on the Gen 5s than it is on the Gen 4s. This is a proprietary rail. This is a proper 1913 rail. This is going to keep the Gen 5s from fitting in some of the holsters that the Gen 4s were made around. So it's really going to depend on the holster maker and how that gun is blocked as to whether or not the holster will work. Some of your higher quality ones don't seem to have an issue, but your less quality ones, the $30 ones from eBay, probably will have an issue accommodating the Gen 5. So you may be on the hook for a new holster. Another thing that Glock gave us is a conventionally rifled barrel. That doesn't sound like a big deal. It's honestly not really a big deal with the modern lead bullets, but you can shoot bare lead bullets out of the new Glock barrels because they're not polygonally rifled anymore. So that's a good thing. I don't know if they're much more accurate. I could immediately shoot my 34 as accurately as the 17, but they both are wearing dots, and it's not going to be radically different in that regard. Probably the feature that I like most about the Gen 5 pistol is the fact that they have changed the design. So the Gen 4, if you've worked on Glock before, you know the Gen 4s, Gen 3s are super easy to work on. You can do it with a 3/30 seconds punch. You just punch out these two pins, this pin at the back, and you can take the whole pistol apart. They've made a number of changes to the inside of the pistol, so that I understand that there are very few parts that are common between these two pistols now. I think it's just the magazine release and maybe the back straps, but maybe not even that. I'm not sure. The new Gen 5s have two pins to punch out, so there's one fewer pin to punch out. The locking block lifts out same as it does on the Gen 4s and 3s. However, the ambidextrous slide lock just sits right on top of the trigger shoe. There's no leaf spring that you have to thread in between the pins just so. And that is really nice. So it just lifts out and goes right back on when you're disassembling it. The other thing that they did is the trigger bar is no longer connected to the trigger housing with the trigger spring as it is on the Gen 4. That was always a fiddly part that was difficult to both get back on and make sure you had it on correctly. Now the trigger bar just slides in under the cruciform, and it's much better this way. So the Gen 5 is simpler in many ways than the Gen 4 in the disassembly and reassembly. So if you are a high round user and you have to do maintenance on the pistol, that's a welcome change. But all in all, I think the Gen 5 is an upgrade to the line of pistols, and I would enthusiastically encourage you to pick up a Gen 5 over a Gen 4 unless you're getting a screaming deal. And a screaming deal would be like the pistol is half as expensive as a Gen 5. So that's my experience with the pistols. Let me know what you guys think. If you upgraded your fleet to Gen 5s or not, let me know, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.